Something that we discuss often on this channel is the provide and protect aspect of masculinity. It's one of our more noble traits, but it's very, very open for exploitation. So, let me preface this entire video by saying if you are or you feel as if you are a victim of an assault of any kind, whether you get beat up or, or very, very sexually, I want you to seek out the proper authorities and go through the proper chains and let that play out however it needs to. You may not get the results that you desire, but it's the best system in the world and really the only one we got. Now, that being said, if you recall much of my earlier content, I've done quite a few videos on the lady that's on the screen right now. Her name is Katie Brennan. And before you say, yeah, bro, no pull out, I would, if her name was, Tammy Lawrence or something like that, like, oh yeah, sure. But Katie Brennan? Nah, bro. Like, not even close. A couple years back, after Murphy got into office, she filed a complaint and she went through the proper channels of, going to the police and everything else like that and having an investigation against a gentleman by the name of Al Alvarez. Now, the police, they investigated. They found there wasn't enough evidence to prosecute Mr. Alvarez. Yet, the feminist, and there are so many of them, in the New Jersey state legislature took it as an opportunity to create some reforms, and well, here they are in NJ.com. Sexual assault victims would get police reports and more under reform package unveiled by New Jersey lawmakers. This is written by Kelly Hayboyer and Susan Livio. Okay. One of my main issues with this is that Katie Brennan herself, now without the prefix that I put on, with going through the proper channels, she went through the proper channels, but she did not get the desired results. Hence, she's not a victim. I'm sorry, but just in the eyes of the law, there wasn't a crime. There wasn't enough evidence there to move forward, even to jury or anything else like that. There wasn't enough evidence there to prosecute. So you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. I'm sorry, it sucks, because from all accounts, it was a hookup that just didn't go that didn't go to plan apparently, and she was regretting it. But I'm not here to cast aspersions. I'm here to go into the reforms that many of our female lawmakers are now championing based off of what? I'm sorry, like if there was no conviction, then it's really hard for me at a logical level to place the victim label on Katie Brennan. But she got like $1 million and some change bucks out of the state, as well as her name in the papers, NJ.com, Insider New Jersey, all of these different outlets like really push this story forward, and the entire time I'm standing there like, wait, what are we doing here? But let's get into this. Sexual assault victims would get copies of police reports, notifications when prosecutors are filing charges against their assailants, and the chance to weigh in on plea deals under a series of sweeping new laws proposed by two of New Jersey's highest ranking female lawmakers. Now, once again, it has to be proven in the court that they are the assailant, right? It's the language that always just irks me. The package of 9 bills introduced Thursday is designed to overhaul how New Jersey police and the courts handle sexual assault, forced entry, and sexual harassment cases. The legislation is being proposed in response to women and men who say their complaints were mishandled or they were mistreated by authorities when they came forward with abuse allegations. When someone comes forward with it, okay, just say Katie Brennan, because all this is based off of like Katie Brennan's recommendation. Like, what men? Like, I can guarantee you, like, it's slim. Like, we haven't run across a male name yet, right? When someone comes forward with their story of trauma, they are staking their faith in the judicial system that survivors say too often fails them, said Assembly Deputy Speaker Valerie Huddle. Survivors must be heard and supported at all levels of the process, from law enforcement to the court system. Here's the thing, that's the thing. There's a reason that there are levels to the process, and that first level, the initial police investigation, that's level number one. And if it doesn't make it past level number one, I'm sorry, too many people are full of shit. Like, just too many people are full of shit these days. You can't sit here and just, like, take people's word for it. Or women's words for it. The package of bills introduced by Huddle and Senate Majority Leader Loretta Weinberg incorporates recommendations from Supreme Court Justice Stuart Ramey and Katie Brennan, a former campaign volunteer on Governor Murphy's campaign, whose explosive forced entry allegations led to legislative hearings. Once again, allegations. You know why it's not a conviction? Because there wasn't enough evidence. The prosecutors couldn't bring Mr. Alvarez up. So at that moment, I'm sorry, but I can't take your word for it because there wasn't enough evidence to back up your word. But what this is about circumventing our legal system. We'll get there. Brennan accused Al Alvarez, a former Murphy campaign advisor, of forced entry in her apartment in 2017 after the pair left a gathering of campaign staffers. Alvarez denied the allegation and was never prosecuted after the case was reviewed by 2 county prosecutors. In May, Brennan settled a lawsuit against the state and Murphy's campaign for $1 million after alleging her case was mishandled. Neither side admitted any wrongdoing. And here's the thing, particularly when it comes to Murphy and a lot of New Jersey lawmakers, they are sugary, man. We got a lot of real sugary dudes running around New Jersey lawmakers as New Jersey lawmakers, and they don't have the testicles to call out nonsense. And you don't believe me? Yeah, this is our governor. Yeah, guys, we just had this conversation, didn't we, about, a certain pair of chesticles, a boy chest versus a soy chest. Yeah. So when it comes to, having the cojones to actually stand tall and say, nah, look, you got to chill with this, Murphy ain't on it. Let's get to some of the bullet points. So here's what the legislation does. Require police to provide sexual assault victims with a copy of the police report of their complaint, a chance to review the report before it's filed, and a way to dispute if they believe it is accurate or not. What? But that's not your job. Give victims the right to be notified by county prosecutors if authorities plan to pursue their case or file charges. Victims would also get the chance to consult with prosecutors before their alleged assailants are offered a plea deal. Talk about poisoning the well, huh? Create that's another thing, a plea deal, but you kind of got to get charged first, and Al Alvarez was never charged. Create a 3-year sexual violence restorative justice pilot program in New Jersey, that would be an alternative to taking cases through the court system. No. See, once again, they are trying to circumvent the courts because they don't want evidence. They want, we can just take the woman's word for it. Nah, fam. You gotta go through the legal process. Instead, victims and their alleged abusers would participate in a program that will look for healing solutions, including in-person meetings and anti-harassment training. So just, man, sir, you were wrong. You were bad. And we don't even have any of it. Honestly, I wish they would. The programs have become popular around the country with victims who do not want to testify in court or whose cases are difficult to prosecute. No. See, that's the thing. If the case is difficult to prosecute, then I'm sorry, but there's no case. There is no case. Go about your life. I'm sorry, whatever you feel happened to you, but it ain't about what you feel. It's about what you can prove. Require that alleged victims, get an information packet explaining their rights, the law, court process, and available counseling and services. They would also get phone numbers to call for updates on their case. So how do we establish that they're victims, huh? They kind of got to go and talk to authorities, right? And then the authorities have to do what? Have an investigation, right? I mean, this isn't, oh my goodness. Have the Attorney General track sexual assault cases and issue an annual report with statistics on how many complaints were filed and how many were either not prosecuted or led to indictments, charges, or plea agreements. This is something that I honestly thought, like, at some statistical level was being tracked already. Like, but that's the weird thing about statistics, they don't really. So I'm actually okay with this. This is fine. But the rest of this is kind of not bonkers. Create sexual violence liaison officers in the police, in the state police and local police departments to serve as the in-house expert and primary point of contact on sexual violence cases. So SVU, y'all want to make Law and Order SVU? They would also provide training and monitor whether the station is complying with the law. Require training every 3 years for county prosecutors and assistant prosecutors on how to handle sexual assault cases, including training on alternative restorative justice methods outside of the court system. That's the thing. If you got to go outside of the court system, then guess what? That means there was no need for it to be in the court system. I'm sorry. Once again, I empathize with anybody who's been violated in such a personal and traumatic manner. But if there is no evidence, right? If you waited like 3 weeks, 3 weeks to go and see somebody and, you took showers and everything else like that, and there's no physical evidence to back up your claims, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Not, we need to just take their word for it and run. Revise the state legislature's anti-harassment policy with new training requirements for supervisors and new standards of how complaints are invested. This is a whole bunch of nonsense. Oh, they just looking for new ways to make bureaucracy. Create a new state workplace anti-harassment and discrimination policy with training requirements, reporting requirements for supervisors, and standards for how cases are handled. You know what? Let's just segregate these jobs. Screw it. Men and women can't work together anymore. And it'd probably be cheaper. It would probably be cheaper to just, anybody that won't really want to complain about that, you know what, we'll settle. Like, sue us, we'll settle. It'd probably be cheaper to go that route as opposed to making all of these different, all these new different bureaucratic, places for something that for a system we've had in place for generations now. And yeah, I don't want the investigators of the local PDs or the county PDs to half-ass their investigation, and I don't assume that they half-ass their investigation. But if our prosecutors and our investigators can't come up with something, then guess what? We gotta let it go. We gotta let it go, and everybody go about your business, because people like to lie. The 9 bills would each need to be approved by the state Senate and Assembly and get Murphy's signature before they became law. And as far as getting old Bitchute signature over here, I think that's pretty much locked in. The work group on harassment, sexual assault, and misogyny in New Jersey politics, a group of female lawmakers. So how y'all gonna talk about misogyny and not even have a dude there, right? Like, this is like feminism. You need to sit down and shut the fuck up. I'm keeping it a buck with you. You need to sit down and shut the fuck up. Like, okay, I got to all the points because this is a whole bunch of yap, and I really don't give a shit. I'm glad I got to all the 9 points that their reforms brought out, because out of all of them, only one is worth a shit, and that's the one where, yeah, we track this stuff, even though it's something, normal people would just think, yeah, weren't we already doing that? No? Okay, let's get on that. But the rest of this stuff, oh yeah, we're gonna circumvent the court system? Nah, no, cut it out, because all it does is open guys up for more. Don't play coy with me. Men and women, shut the fuck up. It's all women, and what they'll do is sit there and just and use that, wield it as a weapon to basically be, because hey, if we put you through this little system over here, if you're in this restorative justice system, then guess what? Our media can now call you, saying an assaulter. Come on, hard pass on that. Hard pass. So with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you liked it, toss it a like, dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub. If you enjoy my fantastic voice and want to get videos like this every single day, share, because sharing is caring. And YouTube and Bitchute and like are the biggest fans of your boy over here for very obvious reasons. Bang the bell for notifications, get something from Teespring, and check out the Patreon, links in the description, as well as speak. Let me know. What do you guys think in the comments? I'm not trying to be a dick. You force me into being a dick. Okay? Like... when it's investigated by the people who are trained to investigate and no evidence comes up, I am sorry, that should be it. Like, it's like with the Harvey Weinstein thing. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, they got Harvey Weinstein. He's such a monster. He's such a monster. Such a monster. They changed the rules to be able to get Harvey Weinstein instead of it, because normally, after you after you have a consensual sexual relationship with somebody, it's kind of hard to turn around and say, hey, yeah, oh, this was forced entry. And they was like, you know what? No, screw that noise. It doesn't matter if they went back for seconds. We're still gonna lock up Harvey Weinstein. And this is really just more of that poisonous feminine bullshit, seeping into Jersey's into Jersey's system now. And honestly, it can't be allowed to stand. It really can't. But you may disagree, and that's what I have a comment section for. Until the next one.